Hello, Internet. I'm hoping you can hear me. Hopefully. I'm alone, so not a big deal. I'm gonna use this time to familiarize myself with the interface. I have someone. Hello, stranger. I'm gonna give people a few more minutes for now. I think I'll just knit along. I wish I could see who's watching. But hello. Um, I will be posting this after, obviously. Whoever's watching, can you just indicate in the chat box if the sound is okay? Because I have no way of knowing whether it is. All right. Give just a couple more minutes. This was probably a mistake. It'll probably be me talking to myself. Oh well. For the one person who's hanging out with me right now, in case you're wondering what I'm working on, I have started my hang on. I'm gonna raise my microphone because it's in a weird spot. That'll probably be better. I have started exactly what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie Mae Martinson. And I've started it in some hand dye I dyed myself. I think I should probably be a little more formal in my intro since I'm going to be posting this anyway. My name is Brianna. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Big Knot Knitting. I'm an engineering student. And this is my first time going live on the internet. Oh, we have two people. Hello, friends. Welcome to my first ever live. I'm just knitting around. I don't have a lot of content this week. I got sucked into a couple of things and didn't do anything else, so I figured go live and have a little bit of a stitch and chat instead. But this is a Cozy Classic Raglan in my own hand dyed. Apparently it's just one of you now. So, guess I'll start with the weather. It's 20 degrees outside, and we've got some cloud, but it's fairly sunny. What is that? Hate when I pick up what's not actually a stitch. And I don't think it's going to rain. We're coming to you live from my bedroom this time. So there's all my clutter. This is my corner desk. I don't use it for much. Science fact. I did not look up a science fact today because it kind of on a whim went live. So I will think of one. Oh, I know a science fact. The reason if you have like banana flavored medicine or banana milk or whatever kind of like banana flavored thing, how they never actually taste like the banana we've come to know, that's because in the 1950s, there was a banana plague that wiped out a ton of the banana varieties, and it wiped out the one that those flavors are based on. Hello, Caitlin! And so, yeah, when you taste banana flavoring, it's based on an old banana that doesn't exist anymore. So the Cavendish, which is the one we tend to eat, it survived that but wasn't used as banana flavoring. So that's why banana milk doesn't actually taste like bananas. If you went back in time, it probably would. So what I'm wearing is Over the Moon yarn representing in the chat today. And it is in Nebula Series G on electron fingering, which is the blue. And then Lilium Pine Fiber Arts Dandelion Lace in pink Cadillac for the fluff. Again, it's the Cozy Classic Raglan, which I am working on while I stitch today. I watched a couple of podcasts where they stitched while they chatted, and I found it super interesting to watch how other people knit, so I'm filming myself knit today. Now whips and other stuff. I started dyeing yarn. Yeah, I mean, I'm nowhere near anyone who actually does it, but you know. I'm just going to get to the end of this round. Ooh. So this is what I'm knitting on. So yes, I cast on 2 new sweaters. Whoops. I dyed myself. I can't decide a name for it. It's also a lot redder than it's showing up on camera, but I think I might call it Icarus because it's like the sun. But I don't know. And I hand dyed that. Oh yeah, that's true. Bananas do also like affect the fruit around them. And they it's because they release a like ripening hormone. And even better, now the way we transport bananas, I did a one training day in a warehouse. They have a room where they actually like spray the bananas with that. So then your bananas are extra loaded with ripening chemical, which naturally occurs, but then there's just extra in the bananas, and that's why they'll rot anything you put with it. So yes, I am dyeing this myself. And I'll show you a couple of the cakes, because some of them I put too many in my dye pot, so there's some pretty good variation. This one's mostly just a tonal with very few little speckles. Then I ended up with one that's much more speckled and variegated. I didn't want to be helical knitting the whole way around, so I'm holding it double to do a DK weight sweater so that the fact that they're all fairly different doesn't become quite as apparent. So I'm almost done the neckline, and then I'll be into the increases. I'll probably work my lightest skein a little bit more and then introduce the next most speckled, which I think is this one, maybe. And then it'll be like this one, only it has a tubular bind on and tubular bind offs. I didn't do that this time because I cannot pull the sleeves up on this, and the body I have to like fight it on because the bind on is just no give. So I'm doing just long tail cast on, and then I'll do probably the surprisingly stretchy bind off so that I can wear it a little more comfortably. That's what I'm kind of stitching on while people watch. Yeah. So then I only worked on one other whip since last episode because I cast it on that day and I talked about it and was like, I think I've earned a new cast on, and then I cast on 2. Whoops. I had some Christmas yarn from Olan in the boot colorway, which is this blue gray. And then I was able to snag a couple of La Bien Aimé's Howl and Sophie, which is not showing up as bright as it actually is. So it's not nearly as pastel in real life. It is very, very vivid. Um, so I'm knitting the Zweig in this. Um, I'm almost halfway through the lace, like contrast. Oh, surprise needle stab. Um, so I'm about halfway through the contrast lace section, and then I'll be into just working the gray for the body. And I think my sleeves will end with a little bit of Howl and Sophie just because of the yardage that I have left. So there's that. And then the cute little triangles, which are contrasting really nicely on camera compared to in real life. Wild. So I'm getting good contrast, but not the right colors. The perks of being in my basement. So yeah, those are my two whips. That's it. I did not work on anything else at all this week. I did a little bit of quilting, but not enough to like show it yet. Yeah. So now it's just on to my not needle related yarn crafting. Sprite with lemonade, if anyone was wondering. So I started dyeing yarn, which I've already mentioned, kind of for myself, just as a hobby at this point. So I did the orange. I just used jacquard acid dyes and then citric acid and a thrift store roasting pan. So I did this one, which I think I'll call Icarus, maybe. But yeah, as you can see, the skeins all vary fairly wildly. I tried to fit 5 into the tiny little pot. That didn't work very well. I will be posting a video of what I did for this color. I just have to get my cameraman, who is also my boyfriend, to send them to me. The clips of what I did. So I wanted to have a like swatch, so that's why it's already caked up. I do have a picture of the skein. I'll actually show it. Really professional. But those, oh, and I'm getting texts. Those, oh, and I filmed it the wrong way, but that's blowing out real good. That is the skeins before I caked them. They have matching tips and ends. And then yesterday I did a little bit more because I was like, that was super fun. I'm doing that again. And I dyed up what was supposed to be inspired by the Fallout game's Glowing Sea. And then my gunpowder gray or gunmetal gray turned a lot bluer than I thought it would. So I ended up with like ocean, or not ocean, mountain lakes kind of. So like mineral green and teals. And then I speckled it with brown, red, yellow, and green. So I have 3 skeins of DK weight that I dyed up in this color that are not cooperating because they're still damp. But I'm super happy with this color. I'm not loving how the camera is washing everything blue today, but it's much greener in person than the camera's making it look. But yeah, so I dyed up that. I think it'll become a DK weight shawl. Thanks, Kate. I'm sure if you watch my doing it, you'll just like cringe at my technique, but that's fine. So yeah, DK weight shawl because 3 skeins is not enough for me to get a sweater. Unless I make it like cropped to like my boobs and short sleeved, which is not something I would wear. But a shawl like this, I would wear a ton, so it'll probably be a shawl. It's super soft. It's gathering yarn Bernia? Barina. It's superwash merino. I don't think it had nylon content. I don't know where I put the label though. And then I had some friends over who wanted to try dyeing. One of them, I've just got hooked into knitting. And she watched me dye my orange and was like, I need to do that. So I was like, well, we can do it at my house. So a couple of them came over last night. And of course, I grabbed them like that. And we dyed up. It looks really muddled on the screen. It's not muddled in person though. I'm gonna grab just one skein. It'll show better. And I'll wear the other two. We dyed up some. It's saying worsted. It says worsted on the label, but honestly, it feels comparative to the DK. And these are really tangled because I didn't add an extra tie. So this is gathering yarn something Valley. It's a Highland wool, so it wasn't superwash. And it's super tangled. Anyway, what my friends and I did is that what was I going to say? Oh, yes. We each made one dye stock. So we each picked a base color and then we each picked whatever we wanted to speckle with. So my friend Charlotte made this orange. She'd been going for red because she hates orange, and then she made orange. I made purple gray. And then my friend Solana made what looked like sewage water while it was in dye stock form, and then as it heated up became like deep burgundy raspberry color, which none of us expected. I was like, we're gonna have puke green in this yarn, and then we didn't. And then we speckled it with teal, red, and brown. It's so tangled. I have to like probably reskein these entirely. That's fine. But yeah. So what's gonna happen is my friend Charlotte will take her skein and she'll knit something with it herself. She's going back to Moncton in a week-ish for school, and she'll have to kind of self-isolate, so she's gonna bring it as her quarantine knitting. And then my friend Solana has requested that I knit her something with her skein, so I think she'll get mittens, maybe socks. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna have a really fun time making these look nice. But they're all almost dry, so I'll be able to skein them all up tonight. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, this one's like, I'm calling this one September Goodbyes because it looks like fall leaves. And then September is when all of my friends from high school go away again to their respective universities. And since I study in our hometown, they all leave. So I felt that it was a suiting name that I dyed it with them, and then they're going to leave. So I thought we were going to end up with like yarn puke, especially since it was like non-superwash, and I was like, oh, it's going to bleed and blend and be really bizarre. But I think it's quite pretty. I'm curious to see how it knits. I might do DK weight socks for myself. I don't know. I'm going to take a peek at the comments. Yes, I might have enough to make a matching hat out of the green. We'll see. Yeah, that is honestly everything I had to talk about this episode. Because I worked pretty monogamously on my Zweig. Just because I was really enjoying, and I went to stay at the boyfriend, or I went to hang out with the boyfriend a lot over this last week, and I'd only bring this project, um, just so that I wasn't like bringing 6 and doing only little bits. So yeah, it saw a ton of work over those couple of days on the weekend. And then, did anyone else see work? I don't think so. This is where like everything else I'm working on is living. No, because I think we had seen that I'd started the sleeve on the cardigan, so. Yeah, I haven't worked on much at all. And the sock has seen no movement. Whoops. But yeah, so that's kind of it for today. It's super short because I spent my days dyeing yarn instead of knitting yarn and hiking and not doing knitting stuff. So yeah, that's really kind of it. Don't think I have anything else super pressing. I haven't worked on the stitch markers, which I talked about last episode. I should get on that though. I'm shipping the giveaway prize today because I, for some reason, kept forgetting, and now I'm going to do it. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to see? Like, do you want to see the sweaters I've finished, or a quick show of my stash, which is super messy as I'm looking at it over there? Otherwise, that's kind of it today. Today was a very light episode. I had very little to show. But I appreciate the couple of you who've tuned in today. I did it super short notice, so I expected to be just talking to the internet void, so it's kind of nice there were a couple of faces. Yeah, my whole house smelled like wet sheep last night, and my dad was not a huge fan. So I've learned my lesson. I cannot dye yarn in the communal kitchen when everyone else is home. They don't appreciate that at all. Yeah. Honestly, I've covered everything I needed to cover today because it's all done. So, unless someone wants to see sweaters, I think that's it. Oh, you want to see the stash? Okay, I will flash my stash. But because I am newer on YouTube, they forced me to use my webcam, so this will be interesting because I'll be filming it with my laptop. I guess we'll flash my stash. Also, this is I can highlight my problem with this sweater, I guess. The bind off is so tight. It only sits like there, and that's the only spot it wants to sit. All right, so I guess we'll move to my stash. I keep it in oh yeah, and then my webcam's in a weird spot. I keep it in an IKEA shelf. I've got all my like fingering weight and a lot of my indie dye is on that shelf. This shelf is worsted and DK, and then a little bit of sport, like this is sport. And then my bulky weight on that shelf. I have my like Michael's brand acrylic worsteds are on that shelf. And then this shelf now, this has a little bit of worsted and my row 1 minis. And then this shelf is where I store my sweaters. They're really messy right now, but yeah. I tried to cram everything onto the one shelf because I didn't have room in my drawers for the sweaters anymore, so I moved a bunch out of here, crammed it over here. so that I could have a couple of shelves. Ooh, almost dropping my laptop. So I could put a couple of shelves for sweater storage. There's like dresses crammed in at the bottom because I had extra space. But yeah, it's not very organized at the moment because I've done a bit of shopping in the last little bit that has made my whole shelf a disaster. But this shelf is my favorite. Peeking up in the green. Oh, this green. Nope. That green. That is radioactive. That was the sock set that I won from the Over the Moon Knit Along with the epic black mini, which I still can't get over that I won that, and I thank you very much since they're here in the chat with me today. Then I have like my slub sock yarn. It's messy in there, but it's my favorite shelf because it's got all the good colors. But yeah, that's my stash, Sean. That's basically it. I'm trying to shrink it, but you know, it's a balancing act of buying more yarn and then using yarn. Yeah, my laptop's super heavy with one arm. Yeah, that's honestly kind of it. I did finish a quilt that I never showed on here. If you guys want to see that, I guess. I'll do that, and then I think that'll be it. Drop all that stuff on the floor. Finished this shortly before I started podcasting, so I guess I'll show it so I technically have a finished object. But it's just a scrappy patchwork quilt that was just recipes for patches and then make as many patches and put them together. And the back's this cute. You probably can't read it, but it's animal noises. It lives on the end of my bed. But honestly, oh, that's a cute angle. That's honestly everything I had to talk about today. And I think because I'm doing it live, I went twice as quick as I usually would. So maybe I should do this more often. Yeah. I had a friend who was going to jump on and be my moderator, but don't know if she's here. Turns out I didn't need one, which is fine. So, yeah, that's kind of it. We've seen my stash. We've seen my new colors that I've dyed up. My 2 whips that saw any attention at all. And the sweater that I finished a while back. That's honestly it today. And then yesterday, I think, was my strawberry moment. Having my friends come over and goof around in the dye pot was really fun. And then my boyfriend's mom came over and helped clear off our cherry tree because it was like insane. It's big, and then every branch is like lined with cherries. So she came over and helped clear it off. So then having all of my friends and then some of my boyfriend's family over, it was kind of fun to just have everyone get together. So I think that's my strawberry moment. So I hope you guys find some strawberry moments, or I guess cherry picking dye pot moments. Because the world is wild. And I know coming into back to school for a lot of people, it's about to get a lot more wild or a lot more stressful. And I think we all need to take a moment and breathe every once in a while. Go live on Instagram on a whim because you forgot to record yesterday, you know, that kind of thing. So, I'm expecting I'll have to go pick up my car from the shop soon, so that's also why this is kind of short. So yes, I hope your knitting makes you happy, brings you joy. If it doesn't, I hope something else does. I I thank the couple of you who have hung out today. Keep me company while I basically do what I do when I film by myself anyway. Yeah, I think that's everything, unless anyone has any last minute thing they want to see. Otherwise, I'll just happily knit until I have to go pick up my car. Also, since they're in the chat and it feels relevant, since I'm wearing it, Over the Moon is selling some of their yarns at 20% off. I'm not getting paid to promote that. There's absolutely nothing there. I just love them. And if you're looking to grow your stash instead of shrink your stash, that's definitely worth looking at. Just as a side note. Anyway, I'm babbling now because I feel like this is too early because everything else is usually an hour. So again, I thank you for watching. If you like what I'm doing, click like. Hit subscribe if you haven't. And join me for the ride. I think I'm going to go now, so farewell, friends. Enjoy your knitting. Enjoy what little bit of summer we have left, or what little bit of winter you have left if you're in the southern hemisphere. And I will talk to you all next week. Bye, friends.